The last days of the Bronze Age, the day 20 civilizations vanished. Close your eyes. Stand beside the sun-drenched shores of the eastern Mediterranean, exactly 3,200 years ago. What you would see is not a primitive world of isolated tribes or mud brick huts. You would be witnessing the absolute pinnacle of ancient human achievement, a vast, hyper-connected network of empires whose economic and political complexity directly rivaled the interconnected world we live in today. In the year 1200 before Christ, the ancient world hummed with a prosperity it had never known before. Gold, copper, tin, and exotic goods from the edges of the known earth flowed like an unstoppable river through the stone gates of imperial palaces. Enormous fleets of merchant ships, built from the finest cedars of Lebanon, filled the horizon as they wove an intricate economic web stretching from the fortress-topped hills of Greece to the fertile sands of Egypt. It was an era of unprecedented international peace, widespread literacy, and architectural wonder. Imperial courts exchanged diplomatic letters on clay tablets. Kings married each other's daughters to secure trade routes. Master craftsmen produced jewelry and weapons that humanity would take centuries to replicate. But beneath this glittering surface, a clock was ticking in the shadows. In a window of time shorter than a single human generation, this entire interconnected world did not slowly fade, it was violently, completely, and permanently erased. More than 20 advanced civilizations shattered at the same moment. Palaces burned. Trade routes went cold. A curtain of silence dropped over the human race, plunging the Western world into a brutal, illiterate 500-year dark age. For millennia, historians looked at this catastrophic gap in time as an unsolvable mystery. But through modern science, forensic archaeology, and advanced climate data, the truth is finally coming to light. What actually happened the day the ancient world died? The golden cage of antiquity. To truly comprehend the magnitude of what was about to be lost, we must first walk through the cities and palaces of the civilizations on the edge of collapse. In the late Bronze Age, three superpowers dominated the known world. Each was entirely unique, fiercely proud, and seemingly immortal. Yet they all shared a single hidden flaw: they were completely dependent on one another to survive. Look first to the west, across the Aegean, to ancient Greece. Here, the Mycenaeans ruled the sea. These were the bronze-clad warriors later immortalized in Homer's Trojan War, a civilization that did not build open cities but fortresses perched on jagged cliffs. Their defensive walls were constructed with stone blocks so enormous that later generations of Greeks genuinely believed only the mythical Cyclopes could have lifted them. From inside citadels like Mycenae and Tiryns, royal scribes using an early writing system known as linear B meticulously recorded every jar of olive oil, every sheep in the fields, every bronze sword in the armories. This was a society of total order and absolute control. Now travel east, into the sun-scorched mountains of modern Turkey. This was the domain of the Hittite Empire. From their capital Hattusa, perched behind double-walled ramparts, monumental tunnels, and stone lion gates, the Hittites controlled one of the ancient world's most formidable military machines. Masters of statecraft and early iron metallurgy, they deployed devastating three-man war chariots pulled by armored horses, capable of shattering any infantry formation in seconds. Finally, look south to Egypt. Under the New Kingdom, Egypt stood as the undisputed cultural and economic superpower of the world. Fueled by the predictable, life-giving floods of the Nile, the pharaohs commanded infinite agricultural wealth. They carved temples into living rock, raised obelisks that pierced the sky, and built capital cities painted in gold, blue, and emerald. These three giants, along with smaller but wealthy trading kingdoms like Cyprus and the coastal city of Ugarit, were bound together in a globalized economic web. None of them was self-sufficient. The defining high-tech material of the era, the one required to manufacture every tool, every farming implement, every military weapon, was bronze. And bronze required two very specific metals, copper and tin. Copper was abundant on Cyprus. Tin was not. To arm their armies, these empires had to source tin from the mountains of modern Afghanistan or the distant shores of Britain, meaning a single bronze sword required a trade route stretching thousands of miles, relying on hundreds of merchants, sailors, desert caravans, and royal treaties, all functioning simultaneously. It was an elegant, sophisticated system of international codependence. It was also a lethal structural trap. The more complex the web, the more fragile it became. One broken link and the entire civilized world would follow. And the Earth was about to deliver a series of shocks that no ancient empire could have prepared for. The wrath of the Earth. The nightmare of the late Bronze Age did not begin with marching armies or burning arrows. It began silently, invisibly, and relentlessly, from the sky. For generations, historians attributed the collapse to warfare and political ambition. Then modern science rewrote the story. Climate researchers analyzing microscopic growth rings in fossilized trees, deep-sea sediment cores, and mineral formations inside caves uncovered a stark geological reality. A prolonged, catastrophic megadrought struck the entire Mediterranean basin around 1200 before Christ. This was not a run of bad harvests. The rain simply stopped. And they did not return for decades. Year after year, the sun baked the earth without mercy. The agricultural heartlands of Greece, the plains of Turkey, and the river valleys of Syria turned to cracked dust. To the south, shifting monsoon patterns weakened the annual Nile floods, destabilizing Egypt's food supply at its very foundation. Crop failures cascaded into famines on a scale the ancient world had never seen. Millions stared at empty fields and dry wells. From the ruins of these lost empires, archaeologists have recovered clay tablets that capture the final, desperate years with haunting clarity. In one letter, the king of the Hittite Empire writes to a neighboring ally with raw, unguarded urgency, "It is a matter of life and death. There is no grain in our land. If you do not send food immediately, we will all perish." As starvation spread across imperial borders, central governments began losing their grip. Peasants rioted in the streets of marble capitals. The international trade routes went cold, there were simply no goods left to exchange. The social fabric was tearing. Then, as if the collapse demanded a final blow, a phenomenon geologists now call an earthquake storm began hammering the region. Over roughly 30 years, tectonic plates shifted repeatedly beneath the Earth's surface. One by one, the great stone walls of the ancient world's greatest cities literally shook apart. Hattusa, Mycenae, Troy, and Knossos, all fractured and broken open at the precise moment their populations were starving. The administrative elites who had always claimed their right to rule came directly from the gods could do nothing to stop the earth from shaking or to force the sky to rain. Desperate populations turned on their rulers. Civil wars and internal rebellions erupted inside the crumbling fortresses. Civilization was bleeding from the inside, vulnerable, fractured, and blind. And that is precisely when the strangers arrived from the sea. The ghost invaders and the ash layer. Out of the smoke of a burning, starving Mediterranean, an unstoppable force emerged from the horizon. Egyptian temple inscriptions at Medinet Habu give them a name that still unnerves historians today, the Sea Peoples. Their true identity long remained one of history's most frustrating mysteries. We now know they were not a single organized army. They were a desperate wave of displaced tribal groups, maritime pirates, and starving refugees fleeing their own ruined homelands in northern Europe. They had nothing left to lose. They traveled with their families, children, and remaining livestock packed into wooden warships and heavy ox carts, moving across the world for one reason, to find land to survive. And they were willing to kill everyone in their path to get it. The Sea People struck the wealthy coastal cities of the Mediterranean without warning. They brought with them a shift in military technology that would change warfare permanently: long, double-edged iron swords and light-throwing javelins. For centuries, the Bronze Age superpowers had relied on chariot warfare, expensive, aristocratic machines that needed flat, open ground to function. The Sea Peoples fought as fast, unarmored, adaptable infantry. They swarmed the heavy chariots, cut down the horses, dragged the drivers into the dirt, and killed them there. Their strategy was not conquest. They did not install new kings or demand taxes. They looted, slaughtered, and burned, then moved on. The coastal trading kingdom of Ugarit, on the shores of modern Syria, was among the first to fall. As enemy ships appeared on the horizon, the young king of Ugarit wrote a frantic final tablet to the king of Cyprus: "My father, the enemy ships are already here. They have burned our coastal villages and done great evil to our people. My armies are away in the north, and my ships are gone. Send help now." The help never came. That clay tablet was found by archaeologists buried beneath a thick layer of ash, baked solid by the fires that destroyed the royal palace the same night it was written. Ugarit was wiped from the map in a single evening. Like burning dominoes, the great cities fell one by one. The Hittite capital of Hattusa was breached, looted, and reduced to charcoal and scattered bones. The Mycenaean citadels across mainland Greece were stormed and burned. Their writing system was forgotten, the royal scribes who maintained it were hunted down and killed. Only Egypt survived, and barely. Pharaoh Ramesses III mobilized every able-bodied man in the empire, turning the narrow channels of the Nile Delta into a killing ground of hidden archers and defensive ships, repelling wave after wave of attackers. But the victory left Egypt bankrupt, isolated, and permanently diminished. The global trading network was not simply broken, it was shredded. The ancient world went silent. The Dark Age and the seeds of the future. In fewer than 50 years, thousands of years of accumulated human knowledge, architecture, literature, fine art, engineering, vanished beneath layers of ash and sand. The palaces of the Mediterranean became empty stone ruins, overgrown and buried. The human race started over from the ground up. For the next 5 centuries, people lived in small, isolated villages, completely illiterate, having lost the ability to read or write. They walked through landscapes dominated by the ruins of their ancestors and genuinely believed those massive stones had been built by gods or giants, because no other explanation seemed possible. It would take humanity over 500 years just to relearn how to record its own history. And yet, from that darkness, something endured. From the ashes of the Bronze Age, the seeds of classical Greece, the Roman Republic, and the foundations of our modern world were quietly, stubbornly born. We are the distant children of the people who stood in the ruins and chose not to disappear. If you want to travel deeper into the greatest mysteries, lost worlds, and untold stories of our human past, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Which lost civilization, forgotten empire, or world-changing historical event should we reconstruct next? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep searching the shadows of the past.